Salve, Regina, Mater misericordiae.
When St. Matthew, quoting Isaiah, refers to our Lord with the words, "He took away our infirmities and bore our diseases." As I said yesterday, it refers not only or even principally to these wonderful physical miracles worked by our Lord, but principally to His redeeming mission. Because He took away our infirmities by bearing our disease. He delivered us from sin by bearing the burden of our sin. And it is our faith in that mission of Christ and our willingness to be humble in the face of it and grateful for it that is our salvation. In every holy sacrifice of the Mass, immediately before we receive Holy Communion, right before we receive Holy Communion, we repeat the words of the centurion in today's Gospel. "Lord, I am not worthy to have you enter under my roof, but only say the word and I shall be healed." The centurion, as he relates to our Lord, was a man under authority and who had authority and who understood how things worked and knew that because Christ had the authority to cure, that he could do it without even coming to his house. And this man who exercised authority, who had 100 soldiers underneath him, had the humility to do two things. One, to recognize that he wasn't worthy to receive Jesus under his roof, even though he was a man of means and authority. And two, he was coming out of his way to find our Lord for a servant. He was a Roman soldier, and he was on a mission of mercy for a person of no consequence in the eyes of the world. So this was obviously a humble man, and our Lord commended him for his faith, said that he hadn't seen faith like that in all of Israel. And that is the disposition by which we should be grateful for what our Lord has done for us, and the way by which we should enter into his saving mission and receive his grace. The centurion had great faith. He had faith enough to believe in the power of God, and faith enough to not be afraid to humble himself and be grateful for God's gift. It's unlike the behavior of Sarah, at least initially, in today's first reading from Kings, where God comes and announces to Abraham and Sarah the coming of their child, Isaac. And Sarah laughs because she finds the whole idea quite absurd. And the angel, calls her on it. And then she is still so incredulous and unwilling to even take responsibility for her own behavior that she lies about her laughter. She thought that the angel really didn't hear her, so she says, "I didn't laugh." And he says, "Oh, yes, you did." She laughed at God, in a sense. She laughed at his saving power. Our Lady, on the contrary, and this centurion, when they encountered the power of God and his word, they were humble before it, and they were grateful for it, and they believed in the power of God to transform. At the end of the Annunciation, God says all things are possible with God. The angel says, rather, that all things are possible with God. And Our Lady believes because she knows it's true. Today we celebrate the feast of the great martyr and doctor of the Church, father of the Church, apostolic father, St. Irenaeus, who lived in the 2nd century, very shortly after the death of the Apostle St. John. St. Irenaeus was a disciple of St. Polycarp, who himself was a disciple of St. John. And one of the fundamental truths that St. Irenaeus hands on to us by interpreting the Gospels is to help us remember that just as sin came into the world through the disobedience of one man, through the mediation of his wife Eve, so redemption comes into the world through the obedience of one man, through the mediation of his mother Mary. St. Irenaeus says that a knot tied by the disobedience of Adam and Eve is untied by that of the Blessed Virgin. It's her humility, her faith, her gratitude, her willingness to believe in the infinite power of God that made it possible for each and every one of us to be saved. And so today, as we approach the altar of God, as we prepare to receive our Lord in the Blessed Sacrament, when we recite those words of the centurion, "Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the word, and I shall be healed," may we mean what we say. May we really have confidence in the power of God and really understand who it is that we receive in the Blessed Sacrament and be grateful for that grace and know that His power, that power that we receive in the Eucharist, is the same power that healed the centurion's servant. Even though the centurion our Lord never went to the centurion's house. Our Lord didn't go to his house, and that servant was healed from his paralysis. We are not worthy to receive Jesus under our roof, but we do. Our Lord comes to us in the Blessed Sacrament. He comes into us as a temple, and He is capable of healing us of all things and of making us saints, those who are pleasing to Him and those who adore and serve Him unreservedly. Lord, I am not worthy to have you enter under my roof, but only say the word, and I shall be healed. Our Lord has taken away our infirmities, and He has borne our diseases. We are free if we want to be. We are delivered from our sinfulness, and we are made partakers in the grace and life of God.